Good afternoon, Chair and Club members. Today, I want to start by asking a question. Does anybody here know what hypocrisy is?
I'm not exactly sure of the precise definition from a dictionary, but basically it's like you decide that, oh, you can't do this, and then you just go ahead and do it yourself.
That's perfect. That's exactly what hypocrisy is. And the actual definition of hypocrisy is claiming to have moral standards or beliefs to one's own behavior does not conform. So it's basically the exact same thing she said. You tell someone not to do something, and then you go do the exact same thing you said you wouldn't. So I'm sure all of you know some hypocrites in your life, and I know some for sure. And the biggest hypocrites in my life are definitely my parents. So let me just give you an example of what happened about a year and a half ago, or a bit more than that. But at the time, I was about 12 or 13 years old, and I noticed all the cool kids in my school drank coffee. So me, being the cool 13-year-old I was, went up to my mom, who used to love coffee at the time. She drank it almost every day, and I asked her, "Mom, can I drink coffee like you do?" And you know what she said? "No, I'm never gonna let you drink coffee. Coffee's bad for you, it's addictive, and I'm never gonna let you do it, or drink it." And I looked at her and thought to myself, this is pretty ironic. My mom, who drinks coffee every single day, is telling me, no, you can't drink coffee. And I'm sure you guys can relate to this, because your parents probably do the same thing. But I just thought to myself, isn't this funny? Anyways, the word hypocrisy was invented in the 1800s in France. It was originally said as hypocrites, and it meant to be underjudged. And those two, in that entire word, came from Latin and Greek culture. So the literal meaning of hypocrisy is to be underjudged. But even though I told you about all the definitions of hypocrisy right now, hypocrisy means different things to different people. For example, what a word might mean to me has a different meaning to some other person. So according to a British political philosopher, David Russman, other kinds of hypocritical distinction include claims to knowledge, which one does not have, claims to consistency, that one cannot sustain, claims to loyalty, to which one doesn't lacks, and claims to an identity to one does not have. And another American political journalist, Michael Gearson, says that political hypocrisy is the continuous use of a mask to fool people into gaining political benefit. So, do you guys have any idea what I just said, or what I mean by this? Yeah, that's good. So basically what these people are trying to say is that hypocrisy is used so often today in the media and by political influencers that it's become a social norm. And these people are using it so often to trick so many people into believing them. So I'm sure all of you know some big political person who's a really big hypocrite. And if you don't know what I'm talking about Donald Trump. And I'm sure you guys have seen some of his ridiculous tweets and I'm just gonna reference one from a few years back where he was brashing President Obama at the time for playing so much golf. Oh, he plays it every weekend. He's not doing his job. Well, if you look at him now, literally every weekend he goes to play golf. And there's been so many articles and stories saying that he's played golf in 4 months in his presidency more than President Obama has played in 8 years. So that's just some hypocrisy right there. But hypocrisy isn't only a word or a feeling. It's also like a social impact. In 1875 to 1905, a Swiss judge and psychologist conducted a research on hypocrisy. What he found was very interesting. He attributed hypocrisy to those who are not aware of the dark side of their nature, or those who don't see their entire surrounding or their entire self. He said the following: every individual needs a revolution, an inner division, overthrow of existing order, and renewal. By not forcing them upon theirs is a neighbor is a hypocritical cloak of Christian love, or the sense of social responsibility, or any other beautiful aphorisms for unconscious urges to personal power. Basically, what he's trying to say is that there's so many big people in this world, big role models, big people you can look up to, but all of them have a cloak on them, which is hypocrisy. You can't see what they're really like because what this is being built is a social norm. Hypocrisy is becoming so evident in everyday culture that nobody knows who they're actually looking up to. You could be looking up to someone who's actually a good person, or someone who's not, but you don't know because of the cloak of hypocrisy. So, with all I just told you, I'm pretty sure all of you think hypocrisy is a really horrible thing right now. And it is in some situations, but hypocrisy isn't always a bad thing. If everyone was always loyal, honest, and compassionate in order to meet everyone's ideals, there'd be no ideals in the first place. A just and peaceful society relies on people who are hypocrites ultimately refusing their ideals and abandoning them. For example, I'm sure all of you know about residential schools and the harm they've put on the First Nations people. So, you know they were put up by the government to try to assimilate the First Nations people into the culture. A while back, the government issued an apology to the First Nation people saying what they did was wrong. And that was a really smart decision, because not only were they able to step up from that situation, they were able to make it better, and they were able to move on from that so they can eventually go to build peace with the First Nations people. Also, another thing, this is just a hypothetical situation. Let's say you meet someone who's a smoker, and then you just bring it up how they smoke, and you're just talking to them about it. And then they tell you, don't ever smoke. It's bad for you, it causes cancer, and you could potentially die from smoking. You'd be thinking at the time, this person's such a hypocrite. They're smoking, but they're telling me not to do it. But that's not actually what it is. They just want to look out for you. They know what the best thing it is. They know how much harm it causes them, and they want to tell you that so you don't make the same mistakes that they did. So even if your parents are the biggest hypocrites, take it with a grain of salt, and know they always mean the best for you. Thank you.